Hi, my friends, it's me, Preston E. And since it's Day of the Dead, I figured we'd do something special with the dead. George A. Romero's dead, that is, with this special list of my favorite dozen George A. Romero's zombies. In Dawn of the Dead, there was this rando nurse zombie that was roaming around throughout the mall through a lot of scenes during the movie. Now, mostly nurses are known for healing and helping people, but this nurse is only known for helping herself to a good heaping helping of brains. And I don't know why she kind of creeped me out. She looked like she was either on good drugs or, just completely spaced out. Like some of my dates in the past, when I'm just talking to them, they just get this faraway look. Well, that look of hers, that kind of creeped me out. So this is why she's number 13 on my list. Coming up next is the random no-name clown zombie from 1985's Day of the Dead. Playing up on a lot of people's fears of zombies and clowns both, this random clown that showed up toward the end of Day of the Dead in 1985 was one of the many clowns that broke through the bunker right before they feasted on the innards of Captain Rhodes and his men. Now, while this clown didn't get a lot of screen time, he definitely did stand out in the group. Long before there was that creepy clown zombie in Zombieland, and before there was Pennywise in the movie It, we had this random clown zombie being a pioneer, paving the way. Coming up next on the list is a Hare Krishna zombie. You take the Hare Krishnas from the airport peddling their flowers and religion on you and combining that with a zombie peddling his desire to feast on your essence, and you got the Hare Krishna zombie. Now, the Hare Krishna zombie from 1978's Dawn of the Dead was involved in quite a famous scene as he stalked Franny up in the attic of the mall. Hare Krishna zombie was one of those just weird random zombies that really stood out from the pack with the way he dressed, and extra points for the tambourine that was still in his hand. Now that is commitment way beyond into death. Up next is a zombie that's number one on a lot of gentlemen's list, the nude zombie from Night of the Living Dead. Now, the nude zombie came about because George A. Romero wanted a naked zombie in there because, some zombies would have happened to been in a morgue at the time, and when you're in a morgue, you're naked. So in comes Carol Wayne, a local model at the time who came on the set of Night of the Living Dead and performed her brief nude scene that would live in infamy. Now, Carol Wayne also played another zombie in Night of the Living Dead, but alas, this time she was clothed and was wearing a blonde wig. But it's the nude brunette that she is most known for in Night of the Living Dead. A funny story arises that during the night that she was to film her nude scene, a lot of people from the town pulled up chairs to watch her do her thing and work her magic, as she was so dedicated to the craft of acting. And God bless her for being that dedicated to. Thank you so much, Carol Wayne, for your services. And it was very hard for a lot of the zombies to try to keep their eyes off of her and to keep their eyes on the brains of the people in the farmhouse, I am very sure. So thank you very much, Carol. I'm getting tongue-tied. I need to move on. But God bless you for providing an awesome acting scene for boobs like me. Coming up next is Johnny the Zombie from Night of the Living Dead. Now everybody knows Johnny as the bespectacled, nerdy-looking tease to his sister Barbara when they pulled up into the cemetery at the beginning of Night of the Living Dead. And he would deliver one of the most famous lines in all of horror when he said, "They're coming to get you, Barbara." Now Johnny would lose his life and save his sister's life when he was protecting her from old Grandpa Grabby himself, Bill Hensman, in the cemetery. Barbara got away thanks to her brother Johnny, but ironically enough, Johnny would come back as a zombie toward the end of Night of the Living Dead to tease his sister some more by grabbing her and pulling her out of the farmhouse to do what brothers do, be a jerk. In this instance, I'm sure he was gnawing on her brains. Russell Striner, as the zombie, lost his glasses, looking actually more handsome as a zombie than he did as a living guy. Sometimes it works that way. The title zombie from Day of the Dead. This is that crazy, wild-haired looking zombie that came up at the beginning of Day of the Dead when they came up in their helicopter looking for survivors in that town near the beach. Now, this zombie was also parodied by Sean Penn in Shaun of the Dead as he was stumbling around and yawning, much like the old zombie was shambling around and groaning from Day of the Dead. The airport zombie from Dawn of the Dead. Now, this particular zombie is very iconic because he appeared on the poster, on plenty of DVDs of Dawn of the Dead and VHS covers too. He's the iconic zombie that appeared at the airport, the bald-headed guy in the red plaid, and he was played by Paul Musser, who I believe had his head shaved bald because he was in a rock band at the time. And George A. Romero thought he had a great look, so much so that the sucker landed up on the posters and later on covers of VHSs and DVDs. Stephen Flyboy, played by Dave Emga, was the lover boy of Fran in Dawn of the Dead. Unfortunately, old Stephen Flyboy was bitten by the zombies in the elevator scene, the very famous elevator scene that happened after the bikers raided the mall. It was during this scene that old Stephen Flyboy perfected the zombie walk and even made it his own by turning his foot to the side, scooting, and even having his pistol dangling by a thread in his hands. David Emga made a great lover boy for Fran, but he made an awesome zombie too. Rest in peace, Flyboy. Up next, we got Big Daddy from Land of the Dead, played by Eugene Clark. Big Daddy was kind of like Bub in a way. He was a sentimental zombie. All he wanted to do was to protect his own kind. Big Daddy was a leader trying to lead the group of zombie hordes out of Fiddler's Green to safety. All he wanted to do was have peace. And just like Bub, the guy knew how to use a gun, but Big Daddy took it to another level and used a machine gun. Big Daddy, like Bub, would continue on the trend of the zombies in the Romero movies becoming more and more heroic as the humans become more and more like the monsters as the series of zombie movies in George A. Romero's canon progressed. Karen, the little girl zombie from Night of the Living Dead. And with a name like Karen, you know she's going to be ill-tempered. Sorry if I'm offending any Karens out there. Please don't hurt me. Anyhow, Kara Shawn played Helen and Harry Cooper's little ankle-biting, brain-biting zombie girl in Night of the Living Dead. And she's on this list Perhaps because she has one of the more famous scenes in Night of the Living Dead when she stabbed her dear old mama to death with a trowel. Kira Shawn also played a girl at the top of the stairs being dragged away by Ben on a rug. Just like Mike J. Nelson said in one of his riff tracks, if you're going to die, die on the rug, so it's convenient for the living to drag you around. Good advice, Mike. Bub. That's Bub. Played by Sherman Howard from 1985's Day of the Dead is the second to last of my favorite Romero zombies on the list. Bub was a pet project of Dr. Logan, a.k.a. Frankenstein, played by Richard Liberty. Dr. Logan the scientist would domesticate Bub and teach him how to do things like shave, listen to music, and use a phone. Bub was about as smart as many social media influencers. Bub also learned how to use a gun just like he did years ago when he was living in the military. Bub found out that his buddy, Dr. Logan, was killed in cold blood by the evil Captain Rhodes. So Bub got revenge for his buddy Dr. Logan and avenged him by shooting Captain Rhodes in the gut right before Captain Rhodes was devoured by a group of Bub's friends. Bub sent Captain Rhodes packing with a shoot and a salute. Being that Bub started the trend of zombies using guns in the Romero movies, and being that Bub was one of the more, if not the most, sentimental zombies, he has earned himself the penultimate spot on my list. Good job, Bub. Before we get to numero uno zombie, let's get some honorable mentions, shall we? The football zombie, also known as Mailbox 22, he delivers the pain and eating the brains. And during halftime, we got Majorette Zombie. She leads a band of zombies into humanity's symphony of destruction. And we have the tall zombie from Dawn of the Dead. In Dawn of the Dead, this guy gets a little taken off the top with the helicopter blades, much to his chagrin, but much to the delight of Roger. We also have Blades Zombie, who takes one to the head by special effects makeup man Tom Savini himself. We have Screwdriver Zombie, who gets screwed literally by Roger in Dawn of the Dead. We also get this Baseball Zombie, and I think he may be the first sentimental zombie even before Bub, because he stares all longingly into the beautiful eyes of Fran through a pane glass in the mall. And finally, the number one spot goes to Bill Heinzman, or as I like to call him, Chili Bill Heinzman, from Night of the Living Dead as the Cemetery Ghoul. He is the iconic zombie that started it all. Of course, in Night of the Living Dead, they didn't call them zombies. They called them ghouls. And everybody called Bill Heinzman a ghoul and a creepy old fart, as he was the one that killed Johnny, chased after Barbara, and made one more appearance in the farmhouse, leaving the wreckage of the zombies on the living. Bill Heinzman, a.k.a. Grandpa Grabby, a.k.a. Chili Willy Billy, gets number one on the list for being so creepy and so iconic. Thank you so much for watching. Please like, sub, and share. I've been Preston E. Garrison, and I'm out of here.